I'm using a throwaway account for this. I don't have anything to lose, but I still respect the privacy of all the people involved, and hence I won't even be taking any names. I guess I will also have to put a trigger warning for sexual assault here. I feel horrible for what I did. How do I even start this? I'll just begin. So let me just start by saying that I would never have slapped my girlfriend intentionally, let alone hurt her in any way. She gave me many reasons to hit her in the past, but I have mostly been civil, and we also patched up soon after an apology, but this time she just wasn't ready to reconcile. My girlfriend has a very high sex drive, unlike me, and therefore she is the one to initiate sex most of the time. It took me a few years to fully trust her, but she was such a loving and caring person who understood my trauma and was always able to control herself even with her high sex drive. When I was a child, I was sexually molested by my own mother. I remember how she covered my mouth with her hand while holding me down, and I tried to scream and defend myself. But I was just a little boy and she was a grown woman. I wouldn't call her mother because that's not what mothers do. This traumatized me, and it destroyed every relationship that I tried to build with a woman later on. It was hard for me to trust women until my girlfriend appeared, and she always respected my consent so far. Even if she made me feel crazy and act out negatively, she did respect consent. Yesterday evening, she wanted to have sex, and I told her I wasn't in the mood right now, and then I turned around. She went all puppy face and then went to the bathroom and came out wearing a two-piece lingerie. That wasn't helping either because I was too tired and definitely not in the mood, you know. One of those days, I woke up in the middle of the night to my blanket gone and her doing oral sex. My heart started beating really fast. All the anxiety I felt as a child came back, and before I realized, I slapped her so hard she fell off my side of the bed. I immediately realized what I just did. The only thing I thought about was that I slapped her. She held her cheek while looking at me with a shocked face before starting to cry. I wanted to comfort her and apologize, but she ran out of the room into the bathroom where she cried her eyes out, and then she went to sleep on the couch. I apologized repeatedly, but she refuses to talk to me. I feel so bad. I know I am a horrible person, and there is no excuse for this. But what can I do so that she speaks to me again? Is there anything I can do so she forgives me? This is an update to my post where I shared with Redditors how my girlfriend took advantage of me. I wish she had not. An update was most likely coming up, and here it is. When I made the original post, I definitely didn't think it would blow up like this, and I certainly didn't expect the comments to be so one-sided, and I didn't expect them to be on my side. I expected nothing but people telling me how horrible I was, and I felt that this would be the only comment I deserved. But after reading literally thousands of comments, I slowly began to realize what actually happened there. You have to understand that this moment shocked me to the core, and this shock still was there when I uploaded the original post. I saw myself as the absolutely disgusting woman beater because of it. I never wanted to hurt anyone, but I realized now that it was a trauma response. When I woke up to her going down on me, it felt like my whole body was controlled by someone else. Like I was controlled by strings that forced me to react like that. And the more comments I read, the more I was sure about that. One day after the post, after thousands of comments from not only Reddit, but also from TikTok and many DMs, I talked to her about it, and I broke up with her. Because all of this made me realize that my perspective of loving and caring was pretty fucked up. I realized that she showed me the bare minimum of compassion someone should have in a relationship, and I noticed many toxic patterns I hadn't realized before. But going into them now would not only be irrelevant to the actual topic, but it also would take way too long for this update post. Though, she refused to apologize to me and demanded an apology from me. I'll tell you one incident to show how unreliable she was, and also a bit of a backstory as to how we met and started dating. I had been dating her for a year. For half of the relationship, everything was fine, but for the rest of the half, it was just a toxic relationship. At the beginning of my new year at school, I started a small job next to my studies. At that time, I had to deal with many things. I had a lot of important tests for school. The new job was stressing me out. I was losing my other best friend. My mom had a surgery and my relationship was going downhill. She was going to a new school which stressed her a lot because she had issues with meeting new people. So I was trying my best to make her happy, to try and make her laugh. She was starting to be really cold towards me and I didn't understand. I tried talking to her many times about it, trying to fix the relationship and to why she was acting like that. But she always told me she was fine, so I believed her. She would also start to get angry at me for no real reason, which was also hurting me. But I tried to stay happy with her. Anyway, let's talk about the incident. One day, she didn't text me at all. I was texting her and she told me that we needed to talk. So I asked her if she could give me some details. She told me it was better to talk about it in reality. I understood what she wanted to say. So during the whole day I was sad and also stressed with school, etc. But I'm an understanding person and consent is of utmost importance to me. If someone is unhappy in a relationship, it's normal if they want to stop. It happens, and it's a part of life. So I just accepted it, especially thinking about how things were going lately. Anyway, I waited for the whole day and then joined her. I was super stressed on the way. Then when I joined her, she seemed quite happy, which I found weird. She told me to hold on for a bit before finding a nice place to talk about it. But she was only dragging me everywhere. At some point, I asked her to finally explain to me what was going on. And then she just jumped in my arms, hugging me and looking at me with a big smile, telling me it was just a joke. A joke, huh? At that moment, I remember that everything was boiling in me. Were my feelings just a toy with which you can just play? She knew that I was already really fucked by everything going on in my life, yet she was still pulling something like this to me. Why did I have to endure that? Why would she do that to me? I remember trying to hold on to the anger in me, just smiling as she said that. But then my body moved on its own and I pushed her aside and almost immediately regretted it. I was at my limits. I felt terrible at that time. I immediately apologized. After that, she seemed shocked and I felt like trash. I accompanied her to her train and I went back home. During the rest of the day, I regretted that act. I didn't want something like that to happen ever again. After that, we still stayed together, even though I should have ended the relationship because it just became a toxic one. Besides my now ex-girlfriend, I only had one friend. I don't have an actual mother or a father. I don't have grandparents or siblings, just this one friend. So I really lack the presence of healthy bonds in my life. Breaking up with her was a hard thing to do, but it was necessary. She currently stays with her mom, who also called me yesterday to ask why I broke up with her. And there was no reason to lie, so I just told her everything. She was quiet on the phone for a while and then just told me her daughter's ex-boyfriend broke up with her for a similar reason. She said it wasn't the same situation, but a similar one, and then she apologized. She didn't go into details, but if I'm interpreting it correctly, my ex seems to have a thing for traumatized men. But again, there is no evidence to support that claim. That's just how I would interpret this conversation with her mom. So what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to therapy and probably won't enter a new relationship anytime soon. I focus on myself and I have to heal. No, I won't press charges because that would mean that I would have to deal with it in a negative way and put energy into it that I just don't have. I hope you can understand that. Her mom is probably going to punish her anyway. And losing the respect of a person you love dearly, I can imagine that's worse than what she would get as a punishment from the court. As for you, I would like to thank you all for your comments. The comments you left on the original post, the private messages, but also all the comments you left on the TikTok posts that shared my story. If you left a comment on one of the TikToks, chances are I've read it. Thank you all so much. Hi! A lot of you have been showing immense interest in my original posts as well as the updates, and a significant amount of readers and commenters have asked me to tell more incidents about when we were together because they have similar partners too and need insights. It's difficult for me to go through the past, but my therapist said the more I write down things, the more I will be able to get them off my chest, so here you go. This is an additional and very unplanned update. but certainly highly requested. I hope it helps you. We'd had been together for almost 3 years, and this incident took place during our second year together. She always used to trust me and made sure I trusted her too. Of course, we had our ups and downs, but it never escalated like that one time I was with my female best friend. Sadly, she stopped talking to me after this incident because she was sure my girlfriend was crazy and she didn't want to create problems in someone's romantic relationship. I was already pissed off that day, got my grades, and they were all shit. My female friend asked me to come over to her place. My girlfriend had to go to the dentist that day, so I had time. We just chilled and watched Netflix. My girlfriend FaceTimed me. She saw my friend and freaked out even though she knew her. She said that I should come over now, and I did. My friend said she is acting like a psychopath. When I arrived at her place, she immediately started screaming at me. Like I said, I was pissed off that day, and I don't take shit from her when she yells at me, but I didn't yell back at her. I just gave her a look that I'm pissed off and told her to talk like a normal human being. She calmed down and said it's because of her period. She asked me why I was there, and I said because I didn't want to wait for her, so I just went over to her. Then she asked me if I slept with her. I snapped and wanted to leave. She immediately apologized, but I didn't care. So she then grabbed me by my wrist, and I pulled my arm away from her and accidentally made her fall down in this stupid tussle, and she started crying. I wanted to apologize, but she said that I should leave, and I did. She sent me some voicemails where she apologized to me. I went to her place a few days later, and we found a solution like always. But when I wanted to hug her, she flinched, and she never did that. I had the feeling that she was scared of me. So you see, based on all these incidents, she would instigate me to the point where something unwanted would happen, and she would get to play victim and make me feel worse when I was already feeling like shit. We had this pattern for a majority of our relationship, and the slapping incident was the final blow to the delicate relationship we shared. I think it would not last long anyway, and I am glad we didn't make any babies together, not even by mistake. I still miss her because of course I had invested my honest feelings and time and effort in being with her, so I feel bad that we didn't last, but I am also kinda glad it didn't because she was just getting crazier and even triggering a part of my inner child that I didn't want to visit mentally. As I had written in my previous update, I will be focusing on my healing and try not to get emotionally involved with anyone before I can be sure that the sexual assaults I had faced as a child don't trigger me as much, and also I would be looking for a healthy relationship and super flexible dynamics.